Hi, Chris Popper here in Bangor. I'm joined by Coach Mark Shields down in Bar Harbor for the weekly Allen Insurance and Financial Coaches Show. And Coach, we were just talking a little bit off the air, and we both agreed that MDI will never, ever, ever play football again on Friday the 13th because last week's game against Orono was a horror show, to put it politely.
Yeah, that's probably putting it nicely. Yeah, it was just one of those nights that nothing seemed to go right for the Trojans. Um, hats off to Bob Sinclair and the Orono staff. They had a great game plan to stop what we want to do offensively, and then them offensively. I mean, they put some real amazing athletes on the field, and quite frankly, we couldn't keep up with them. They were playing at a much higher level than we were. They're just faster than we are and probably more athletic across the board. And I thought we could hang with them, but I was hoping we could get pressure on their quarterback. That never really happened. Uh, and then Will Francis, got to give him credit, their best wideout. He was lights out. We just couldn't stop him. We had guys that were covering him at times, and he still was making the play. And then it snowballs. Once they scored a couple touchdowns, and we had a couple of injuries, and it went south in a hurry. And it was just one of those nights where about halfway through the second quarter, I was thinking, can we go running time at this point so we can get out of here? Because it wasn't going to be good at that point.
No, no. Well, I mean, as you said, hats off to Jack Brewer, the quarterback, hats off to Will Francis. And I thought that MDI had done a very good job in terms of trying to cover Will Francis. I mean, I think that at you had Jaron Beeker who was covering him throughout most of the game, and I thought that Jaron did an excellent job of coverage. He didn't get beat. It was just Will Francis is that good of a wide receiver.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at tape, there were a few times that Francis got open, but overall, we had a guy on him, and many times it was Jaron Beeker, and Will Francis was still able to, make the catch and make the big play, and so that was really frustrating. I mean, I felt bad at times for Jaron. He came off the field. I said, "Buddy, there's nothing else you can do. You were right there," and he just made a great play. So I told the kids, this week we just need to turn the page. We need to move on from that game. That's a week two game. We have a lot more football to play, and sometimes these things happen. Nobody was pleased about it, nobody felt good about it, but we have to own it. It was on all of us, coaching staff as well. Bob Sinclair did a much better job preparing his kids than I did for that game, and they deserved the victory. So now we got to move on, and hope we improve as a football team from it.
All right, so let's move on. Yarmouth on Friday night. It's a quick turnaround. It's a long trip down to Yarmouth. What time do you leave school tomorrow?
We are excusing the kids at 1 and we're leaving at 1:15. Mr. Dow has informed me that there's a shortage in buses or bus drivers or both. So we're taking one bus. The cheerleaders won't actually be able to go, which is
Uh,
disappointing. I do feel
yes.
bad about that. But we'll all be on one bus with the football equipment and all our gear. And yeah, it'll probably take about 3 hours or so to get down there, depending on traffic and kickoffs at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and obviously, if you are interested in driving a bus, you're welcome to call any school department in Hancock County because there are major shortages of qualified drivers, and I believe that the MDI Adult Ed and I think Ellsworth Adult Ed were offering free bus driving courses if you sign up to become a bus driver. So, something if you're interested in pursuing, um, because yeah, come basketball season and baseball season, and it's just and our hearts go out to the cheerleaders because they certainly um, bring a lot of school spirit, especially when you're on the road. I mean, because then it's just you, a couple parents, and me against the world.
Right, and I'm pretty sure you won't be suiting up, so that's going to be
No, but
really bad.
I will be loud in the press box, so you'll probably be able to hear me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how many fans will have traveled down to Yarmouth, Maine on a Friday night. Hopefully we have some parents come down, but yeah, hopefully have some support down there.
Well, I was talking to the AD from Yarmouth and remembering last year's game, and it was incredibly windy, and they had a running back, McGonigal, that ran like the as if he was wind propelled. I think he went for close to 400 and some yards in a very close game. I mean, MDI was able to keep up with him, but boy, I'll tell you, he was an amazing running back.
Yeah, definitely. And they had a huge fullback they put in front of him, and that was 2 seasons ago we went down there.
Oh,
But
two
yeah,
seasons. Okay.
yeah. But yeah, McGonigal was lights out, and we couldn't stop him. Coach Shields being the defensive coordinator, whatever scheme I had come up with that night definitely didn't work. So thank you, Chris, for
Landmines or something. I mean,
yeah,
that was the only thing that was going to stop him.
yeah. And I think the lights went out at one point, if I remember correctly, or
Yeah,
they had a hard time getting the lights on.
right, right. Well,
That
this
was
year
another bad night.
playing at 6, so hopefully a little bit better. Now the squad's a little banged up, but it's the Belichick philosophy of next man up.
Yeah, right. A lot of teams will have injuries throughout the season. It can never be an excuse to not be successful. And our kids have, I've had some guys step up this week, which I'm very pleased about. Um, they understand the circumstances, and that's just the way it is in the world of football. And Yarmouth could have some injuries. Who knows? But, it can't be something that you use as a crutch, pardon the pun, but it's life in the game of football, and it is a physical sport, and some kids will get injured. So we do have some injuries. We have some other guys stepping into positions, and we're hoping we perform well Friday night.
What's the morale of the team? I mean, when you do get some injuries, when you take a beating, um, such as what occurred last Friday, it's easy to get down. But how do the boys' spirits, and what do you do as a coaching staff to uplift everybody?
Yeah, that's a great point, Chris. And we all felt pretty down Friday night, and we had some injured players, and that just sort of added insult to injury. And yeah, it took some time. I mean, I was moping around over the weekend, and my wife and I've been doing this a long time together, and feeling sorry for myself. And she, always basically said, "Well, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit here and feel sorry for yourself, or are you going to get the guys ready to play Yarmouth?" And that's what we have to do: get ready to play
Thank God
Yarmouth. And
she's on the coaching staff. I mean, it's
my
what
yeah, and then I started to cry because she was so mean to me and hurt my feelings. Uh, but she was right. So, the kids, they have responded so well to this. I'm so pleased with them. They've worked extremely hard this week. And like I said, we've had some guys step into some positions that they normally haven't played. And I think they're just excited to get down there. I think they want to get back on the field. Sometimes it's nice, honestly, to get back on the practice field, some normalcy there. And we've done that this week and had a good week of practice. And I think the guys want to get back now on the playing field for, for maybe some redemption or try to feel like, we can turn this thing around, what have you. But it's going to be a tough game. With Yarmouth, you look at their record, you might say, well, they're 0-2. We're 1-1. They're looking for a win. We're looking for a win. They're going to be pumped up down there to get their first win of the season. So I think it's going to be a real tight game.
yeah. Uh, potential for a little wet, little rain. I mean, something, a four-letter word we haven't had for quite some time. Um, Obviously, in games like this, and especially where you have some players playing in positions that they may not be used to, um, hanging on to the ball, and also then special teams become even more important.
Yeah, right. So if looking at the weather, we could see some showers tomorrow night. And that has been a major point of emphasis for me as a head coach, especially when you have younger players maybe stepping into some positions. And I talk to the guys, play within yourselves. Uh, the biggest thing for us offensively is to protect the football, live for another down. So I've been working real hard with the kids with that, and they've been taking that seriously, and they understand that. I mean, if we go down there and we put the ball on the ground 4 or 5 times, we're not going to win a football game. It just isn't
Right.
going to happen. So we have to protect the ball. And you're right, special teams in a close game like this could be huge. Could be huge. Punt return, kickoff return, what have you, turnover on one of those. Uh, that could determine the outcome of the game. And so you're right. We need to be sound as far as our special teams, and we have to protect the football tomorrow night.
And I guess the other thing is don't do more than what your job is do your job and rely on your brothers to do theirs.
Exactly. And, I know we throw around the Bill Belichick line, do your job, but we lived by that last year and we were pretty successful. And I used that quote again last night. I had a couple guys and I don't think they were trying to do someone else's job per se, but they weren't necessarily doing their own job. And, I brought that out. I said, listen, if we all do our jobs, and it was on defense, then we're going to have a greater chance of success than if people try to do too much thinking they need to help someone else. And
Right.
so don't do that. Believe in your teammates, believe in yourselves. And all you can do sometimes is just play hard. And that's what I told the kids. I said, you just got to go down there and play hard Friday night.
Well, and that's all you can ask as a coach too, is to give 100%.
Yep. And these kids have done that right from last year, right through this season. They've given us everything we've asked of them, and I know they're going to play hard Friday night against Yarmouth.
All right. So tomorrow night, or well, Friday night, against Yarmouth, kickoff at 6 o'clock. We'll be on the air starting at 5:40. You can hear the game on WDEA Internet Radio at WDEA.am on our free downloadable app, sponsored by First National Bank, and on any Alexa-enabled device. And then come home, have a little bit of home cooking. It'll be nice to be home. Against Morse, and it'll be nice not to have to climb that spiral staircase, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right. And that's another long trip down there to Morris. We went there, what, 2 weeks in a row last year. So
Yes, we did.
it's nice. Morris is making the trip north this year.
All right, Coach. All right. Have a great week, rest of the day. We'll see you down on the field down in Yarmouth on Friday night, and best of luck to you and the Trojans.
Sounds good. Thanks, Chris.